Ffa Creed by Ian Tiffany. I believe in the future of agriculture, with a faith born not of words, but of deeds. Achievements won by the present and past generations of agriculturists in the promise of better days through better ways. Even as the better things we now enjoy have come to us from the struggles of former years. I believe that to live and work on a good farm or to be engaged in other agricultural pursuits is pleasant as well as challenging. For I know the joys and discomforts of agricultural life and hold an inborn fondness for those associations, which, even in hours of discouragement, I cannot deny. I believe in leadership from ourselves and respect from others. I believe in my own ability to work efficiently and think clearly with such knowledge and skill as I can secure, and in the ability of progressive agriculturists to serve our own and the public interest in producing and marketing the product of our toil. I believe in less dependence on begging and more power in bargaining, in the life abundant and enough honest wealth to help make it so, for others as well as myself, in less need for charity and more of it when needed, in being happy myself and playing square with those whose happiness depends upon me. I believe that American agriculture can and will hold true to the best traditions of our national life, and that I can exert an influence in my home and community, which will stand solid for my part in that inspiring path. Thank you.
Abby, the creed opens with the words, with a faith born not of words, but of deeds. What deeds are you performing to promote agriculture?
The FFA Creed is full of some of the greatest lessons on American agriculture. And the paragraph that's the most meaningful to me is actually the first paragraph because of the optimistic mindset it set. So, the deeds that I am performing to help keep agriculture alive include being involved in my FFA chapter, having my SAE thrive with my poultry farm, and leading my junior parliament through different joys and of what we might discuss. Now, I believe that my most important one that truly shows my deeds of agriculture is advocating for agriculture. Farmers have been going through a tough time recently with all the misinformation and myths that have been going on social media. So I believe it's important that we as agriculturists need to show them why agriculture is so important and why it will continue to help feed the population of our growing world. Because without agriculture, we would have nothing. So I believe that my deeds that help me keep agriculture alive are advocating for farmers in this tough time of need, being involved in my FFA chapter, and allowing my farm to thrive with my children.
Question number 2 comes from paragraph number 2. What joys and discomforts of agricultural life have you experienced?
I personally do not live on a farm, but we do have one. There is a 4th-generation farm that has been going through my family, but it has not been in production in many years, and we've just got it back. So I have been working to get that back in production. And one of the joys that I believe not only myself, but as every agriculturist can feel, is the joy of your reward from the product of your toil, your hard work. For example, I have 19 chickens that are all laying hens, and I still get so excited whenever I get to go, gather the eggs, because it's exciting that as a 14-year-old in agricultural education, I can have my own version of sustainable agriculture. And a discomfort of agricultural life that truly affects me is keeping my animals safe. Now, as I said before, I have 19 chickens, and chickens are not the smartest animals. So it's very important to have predator-proof my chicken coop and make sure that no foxes, coyotes, snakes, nothing can be in there to harm my animals. So there are many different joys and discomforts of agricultural life, but the two that affect me the most are the joy of receiving your hard work and protecting your animals, even if it's challenging.
I have the next question. Now, there is one paragraph that says, and I'm quoting, in the ability of progressive agriculturalists to serve our own and the public interest. What is a progressive agriculturalist?
I believe a progressive agriculturist is the most important thing that we have in agriculture today. How I would define a progressive agriculturist is an agriculturist that continuously thinks of new ways to be innovative. For example, thinking of new technologies, how to keep prices down, such as fuel and fertilizer, and also making better crop methods for our farmers. Think back to the time of the 1970s or 80s, before we had GMOs. Now, farmers had very poor crop production methods because they were producing less crops on more land, and they were using so much different sprays, different fuel, and everything was just, they were using so much when it really wasn't all that necessary. So progressive agriculturists worked to create this groundbreaking thing called genetically modified organisms. So now farmers, they don't have to waste so much fuel, as much time, as much money for anything. They just roll over their crops with a spray or two, and then they're good. So I believe a progressive agriculturist is somebody that continues to make agriculture better for the good and keep agriculture alive in our community.
For the final question, going back to the first paragraph, it mentions the struggles of former years.
Mm-hmm.
What is a struggle that you've overcame this year as a new FFA member?
As a new FFA member, a struggle that I have overcame is creed right now. Because before I joined my FFA chapter, I would not have stood 2 words to do. I was very proud. But since I took the initiative and the challenge of being my chapter's creed speaker, I have been able to develop this great deal of leadership ability that has got me to the state finals today. So a struggle that I have overcame in agriculture through FFA would be the struggle of me working every single day to perfect the creed and advocate for farmers by saying it.
Thank you, Abby.
Thank you.
The FFA Creed by Ian Tiffany. I believe in the future of agriculture, with a faith born not of words, but of deeds. Achievements won by the present and past generations of agriculturists, in the promise of better days through better ways, even as the better things we now enjoy have come to us from the struggles of former years. I believe that to live and to work on a good farm, or to be engaged in other agricultural pursuits, is pleasant as well as challenging. For I know the joys and discomforts of agricultural life, and hold an inborn fondness for those associations which, even in hours of discouragement, I cannot deny. I believe in leadership from ourselves and respect from others. I believe in my own ability to work efficiently and to think clearly, with such knowledge and skill as I can secure, and the ability of progressive agriculturists to serve our own and the public interest in producing and marketing the product of our toil. I believe in less dependence on begging and more power in bargaining in the life abundant, and enough honest wealth to help make it so, for others as well as myself, in less need for charity and more of it when needed, in being happy myself and playing square with those whose happiness depends upon me. I believe that American agriculture can and will hold true to the best traditions of our national life, and that I can exert an influence in my home and community which will stand solid for my part in that inspiring task. Thank you.
Caroline, the creed opens with the words, with a faith born not of words, but of deeds. What deeds are you performing to promote agriculture?
There are many deeds that I feel like I perform when trying to help this agricultural industry thrive. Personally, the one that's closest to my heart is I'm currently working on a community garden. Where I live, it's a food desert. There is no fresh produce. There may be a Dollar General, but we all know that there isn't produce at a Dollar General. We know that our families need that help to help with obesity. Currently, me and my FFA chapter are working on a community garden, so that way in the midst of the summer, they can go out and pick a tomato and taste the right fruits and feel like we've accomplished something, to be able to take that ability and thrive with it. For me, that's a way of showing how we work with deeds and not just with words.
Okay, and the second question comes from paragraph 2. What joys and discomforts of agricultural life have you experienced?
There are many joys and discomforts of the agricultural life. Many of us know them. That can be, I raise sheep, and all the lambs get out and run across the farm and through the pastures, and you try to catch them, and you get in the barn and you laugh, and you giggle, because that was a lot of work, and it's hot outside. It may be more severe. In late December, we all know the devastating tornado that went through western Kentucky. It crashed more than so many homes. It went through so many farmlands, and it's taken them to where they will never be able to be used again. That's a very big discomfort. On Christmas afternoon, I got to feed many children and families and help them nourish themselves with the food by serving with them at a government's property. I think it's very important that we notice these discomforts. And when we take them and learn from them and push past them and become more is when we truly thrive. When we learn from our mistakes. When we know that our farmland may be crushed, but that's given us more of an ability to learn how to produce crops with lower space, to make more with less. It gives us new opportunities. And when we learn from our discomforts, it becomes a joyous event.
I have the next question. In the third paragraph, there is the phrase that says, in the ability of progressive agriculturalists to serve our own and the public interest in marketing a product to our toil. What is a progressive agriculturalist?
In my opinion, a progressive agriculturist is someone who does something than just their own. They take what they have and expand it. For instance, ag teachers. There are 158 FFA chapters in the state of Kentucky. That means more than 160 ag advisors constantly work day in and day out to help not only themselves, but other children across the state. They're working each day to make them thrive, to learn what the futures of America and our farmers will be like. They're teaching the young children and myself what it's like to produce more farmland with less. They're teaching us simple facts that have gotten us so far. For me, that's expanding our horizons and giving us a huge asset for our abilities.
For the final question, going back to the first paragraph, it mentions the struggles of former years. What is a struggle that you yourself have overcome this year as a new FFA member?
I touched on the devastating tornado that came through December. That really rocked me, my family, my FFA. It's really channeled the fact that our time may be limited. Each day, we try to progress with what we have. Like I spoke on, our community garden, taking our food desert and trying to help it. Not only are they a food desert, but they just come through a devastating tornado. More than half the houses are demolished in their town. They need people with leadership skills and abilities to be able to teach them how to move on. And I'm trying my hardest, along with every other member in the state of Kentucky, to be a fellow leader. To see the young children who are young, who are who are younger than our municipal ages, and show them my leadership skills. To be able to take our small bit of information and passing it down to them. I make it my mission to show them how much I truly believe in the future of agriculture. I believe in the future of agriculture, and so did Ian Tiffany when he wrote it. I make it my mission to show everyone that I believe in it. Thank you.
Sarah, you may begin when you are ready.
The FFA Creed by Ian Tiffany. I believe in the future of agriculture, with a faith born, not of words, but of deeds. Achievements won by the present and past generations of agriculturists. In the promise of better days through better ways, even as the better things we now enjoy have come to us from the struggles of former years. I believe that to live and work on a good farm or to be engaged in other agricultural pursuits is pleasant as well as challenging. For I know the joys and discomforts of agricultural life and hold an inborn fondness for those associations which, even in hours of discouragement, I cannot deny. I believe in leadership from ourselves and respect from others. I believe in my own ability to work efficiently and think clearly with such knowledge and skill as I can secure, and in the ability of progressive agriculturists to serve our own and the public interest in producing and marketing the product of our toil. I believe in less dependence on begging and more power in bargaining, in the life abundant and enough honest wealth to help make it so, for others as well as myself, and less need for charity and more of it when needed, and being happy myself and playing square with those whose happiness depends upon me. I believe that American agriculture can and will hold true to the best traditions of our national life, and that I can exert influence in my home and community, which will stand solid for my part in that inspiring task. Thank you.
Sarah, the creed opens with the words, with a faith born not of words, but of deeds. What deeds are you performing to promote agriculture?
Excellent question, thank you. The deeds that I'm performing to help promote agriculture is spreading what agriculture truly is to every single person that I can. For most Americans, they don't know where their food comes from because if you think about it, they don't have to grow their own food, so why would they? But it's not completely their fault. It is our jobs as agriculturists and FFA members to spread the joy and the reality of what agriculture truly is. So many people look on social media and see one thing and it just spreads like wildfire. And I think that what I can do to help promote agriculture in the best way is let people know what agriculture truly is and not being mean or judgmental when I tell them, but just letting them know kindly, but with passion, that agriculture is an essential for our lives. We cannot live without it. American agriculture is the world's largest industry. We need agriculture just about 3 times a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And that's not even counting your snacks. So I think that people need to know that. So unless we can find a substitute for food and eating, we're gonna need agriculture. And I feel like if I keep on spreading what agriculture truly is, then I'm doing the best job that I can of promoting agriculture. Thank you.
And one question comes from paragraph 2. What joys and discomforts of agricultural life have you experienced?
The joys and discomforts of agricultural life. Well, there's a lot, but let's start with the joys. The joys that I have experienced in agriculture from probably would be, I would come home from school every day and I would say, Papa, let's go get on the tractor. Daddy, please take me up on the farm. And I would just love to spend every single second on the farm that I could. I love seeing the cows in the field when I go by, and I love knowing that I was raised in such a good environment. And now that I'm getting older, and it's kind of hard for me to spend as much time on the farm and in the agriculture community as I did then, now I get to see my two little nephews grow up on the same farm that I did. And they love our farm and agriculture as much, if not more, than I did. But there's not always good things that come out of agriculture. Sometimes it's going to be hard. You spend hard hours working and baling hay. That's one of the toughest things to do because it's hot and it's humid and it's really hard work. But at the end of the day, you know that you are helping provide and just better your farm and your community through agriculture. One example of a discouragement that I have experienced in agriculture is when I was little, I had this cow named Bella, and I loved her to death. Every single day, I would go up and I would bottle feed her from when she was a baby, and I watched her grow up. But one day I went up there and I looked at her, and she was laying down, and that moment I knew she was gone. And I think I cried for about probably 2 weeks straight because I grew so attached. But we have to accept that there are things like that that are going to come from the agriculture industry. But that's why it's so important to come together as agriculturists, because agriculture just betters our world so much. Thank you.
I have the next question, and it is, in the third paragraph, there is a phrase that says, in the ability of progressive agriculturists to serve our own and the public interest in producing and marketing the product of our toil. What is a progressive agriculturist?
A progressive agriculturist is someone in the agriculture industry who puts 110% of everything they have into agriculture. They are constantly promoting agriculture so it can improve generation after generation. They love agriculture, but it doesn't have to be a farmer for you to be a progressive agriculturist. A progressive agriculturist can be anyone from an ag teacher to an ag mechanic, and there's a lot of options. But the main thing that progressive agriculturists strive to do is to continue to better our world through agriculture because they have that passion for it that just explodes from them everywhere they go. Thank you.
For the final question, going back to the first paragraph, it mentions the struggles of former years. What is a struggle that you yourself have overcame this year as a new FFA member?
I think that one of the biggest struggles that I've faced this past school year has been really just growing my confidence. I know that when I first started saying the creed, I was kind of shy and timid, and I was just like, oh my gosh, I'm going to mess up. But now I feel like I have just grown so much through FFA, and I love that it gives us that experience. So I had to just really grow my leadership skills, and I didn't do it all by myself. I had the amazing support of my parley members in my FFA chapter, and especially my advisors, who are always there for me anytime that I need them. And I just took everything that they said to heart. And I know that I am happy being me and in my own skin. And I feel like that has been the hardest thing to develop, but it's been the best thing for me because now I just have this love for agriculture that I'm able to express to other people just anywhere I go.
Thank you.
The FFA Creed by Ian Tiffany. I believe in the future of agriculture with a faith born not of words, but of deeds. Achievements won by the present and past generations of agriculturists in the promise of better days through better ways. even as the better things we now enjoy have come to us from the struggles of former years. I believe that to live and work on a good farm, or to be engaged in other agricultural pursuits, is pleasant as well as challenging. For I know the joys and discomforts of agricultural life, in holding inborn fondness for those associations which, even in hours of discouragement, I cannot deny. I believe in leadership from ourselves and respect from others. I believe in my own ability to work efficiently and think clearly with such knowledge and skill as I can secure, and in the ability of progressive agriculturists to serve our own and the public interest in producing and marketing the product of our toil. I believe in less dependence on begging, in more power in bargaining, in the life abundant, and enough honest wealth to help make it so, for others as well as myself, in less need for charity, and more of it needed, in being happy myself, and playing square with those whose happiness depends upon me. I believe that American agriculture can and will hold true to the best traditions of our national life, and that I can exert an influence in my home and community, which will stand solid for my part in that inspiring task. Thank you.
Carter, the creed opens with the words, with a faith born not of words but of deeds. What deeds are you performing to promote agriculture?
The deeds that I believe I'm currently performing to promote agriculture, first of all, I think it's actually being a part of it. Some people out there nowadays through social media, they talk all the time about agriculture, yet they've never had the first-hand experience that someone like a farmer may have. I've currently been working this summer over in Simpson County for 4 farms. I've got the first-hand experience of many different things that I've never done before. I've been working on a tractor, I've been working down on the ground, moving hay, things like this I haven't personally experienced before that time. But I think that actually learning this in person, having these experiences, it allows me to learn what agriculture is nowadays. And knowing what agriculture has been in the past, it allows me to see how it's developing. Things like this, that's a deed that I feel like that I'm currently learning. But not only just working in it, I think explaining and telling others about what agriculture currently is, rather than what people think it is. Currently, as I said, through social media, people spread misinformation. I think that if we can actually change the narrative and explain to people what the truth is about agriculture, what we're actually doing right now, and telling them the truth, I think things like this is where it's at. I think that's what we as agriculturists need to be telling them. The truth is what people need to know. But by just standing idle, it does nothing. That's why through people like Farm Bureau, I actually like to go out into the community and help people. Tell them what the agriculture is looking at today. See the innovations that we're currently making and what all that we can do through agriculture. This is what I think I'm currently doing to promote agriculture right now.
Okay, my question comes from paragraph 2. What joys and discomforts of agricultural life have you experienced?
Now that one, I think that's a very good question. For me, the challenges and the pleasantness of agriculture, they go hand in hand. People in life, they often look for the pleasant things. They often chase fun and things like this, but I see that you can't have fun without the hard work that's brought into it. But not just fun. There are people around the country and around the world that wake up every day, go out and work hard. Sometimes they get up before the sun comes up. They go to bed after the sun went down. They don't get enough sleep. They put off eating food just so that they can get the work done that has to be done. Things like this are responsibilities And people nowadays like to neglect responsibilities. They just look forward to the pleasant things, but don't actually do what it takes to get there. So actually going out, working hard every day, getting the sweat on your brow, working hard and knowing that at the end of the day, when the job is done, then that's when you get to enjoy what you look back on and said, this is what I've accomplished. The challenges are the hard work. It's working hard, going out and doing your part. It's not asking for the good things that come from other people's work. It's not asking for handouts. It's knowing that you've gone out, gave your hardest, and that's when you get to enjoy things. So personally, me, the biggest thing that I have to say, I'm currently involved in life of hay. Getting up every morning, sometimes I'll forget to pack my lunch. I don't enjoy that, but after I actually get to go out, work hard, and pick up these bales, I'm sweating hard. I need a Gatorade. I need something like this because I'm physically exhausted. And the exhaustion, it makes at the very end everything worth so much more. If I don't give my hardest every day, I don't think that it would be worth as much. Things that are just given for free, they don't mean anything to me. When that person goes out and works hard, that's what gives it value. So for me, it's going out. And for me, it's, hey, going out and working hard every day so that at the end of the day, I can enjoy myself and look back on what I've accomplished. That's what I think the pleasant and challenging things are in agriculture.
In the third paragraph, there is a phrase that says, in the ability of progressive agriculturists to serve our own and the public interest in producing and marketing the product of our soil, of our toil. What is a progressive agriculturist?
To me, what a progressive agriculturist is somebody that not only is within the agricultural industry that works hard, but somebody that actually promotes it. And like I said, tells the truth. Somebody in books these days, and it's like social media, they'll spread all this information without having the first-hand experience. A progressive agriculturist is somebody that has been in agriculture all their life, or at least had the first-hand experience. They know what agriculture looks like right now, and through that, they get to see the lens of what the future of agriculture would be. And progressive agriculturist is somebody who promotes that and tells people what the future of agriculture holds. They have the hope of the future of agriculture. They believe in it with their hearts. Progressive agriculturist is not somebody who always looks at the negative things and thinks that there's no future, that we're just going to stand idle, and that's what it is. A progressive agriculturist is somebody that's always trying to innovate and create new things and spreading information about what we're currently doing to improve our agriculture business right now. That's what I think progressive agriculturist is.
Well, the final question. Back in the first paragraph, it talks about the struggles of former years. What is a struggle that you have overcome this year as a new FFA member?
The struggle that I face is, I would have to say, it's working hard for an office position. For me, my brother, he was a chapter president and a region president. Something like this, it motivates me because I'm quite competitive, and I've always wanted to outdo my brother. Things like this, so I was always trying to see what I could do. I asked my dad, who used to be an FFA officer, what he did to get his position. I tried to sneak and ask my brother what he did to get his position, and tried to see how I could do it better. And my brother, he's worked really hard for his position, and parts of it, I was like, I really don't want to do that. But I know that by doing that, being involved in the FFA, doing competitions such as this, it actually helps me to get that experience as an FFA member, and I really love it, I really do. And now I see why he did what he did. My brother, he didn't pursue his officer position because he wanted to be competitive and outbeat me. He did it for the fun of it. He did it for the relationships that he made through the FFA. He did it by learning leadership abilities from different people that he met across the country and state. So the struggle that I've had is working as hard as my brother has to get where he is. The parts that I didn't want to do, the struggles, it was really having to actually be involved for me. But now, after I've been involved, I see that everything's worth it. I've made new friends that I might never have met. I've met new people in, well, I would have never met them, as I said. So, yes, it's a struggle, but it's also incredibly awesome. Getting to meet these new people, new leaders that inspire me to become a better person. And that's what the FFA has done for me. But at first it really was a struggle because I had other obligations and things that I felt responsible to do. But throughout it all, I've been a part of the FFA and I've been trying to be involved. And it gets a little stressful at times, knowing that you have to get ready for this banquet, that you have a competition coming up that you have to practice for, but you also have finals in school. So the balance between work, FFA, and school, it's all really hard. But the hard work, as I said, is what makes it all worth it. So pursuing the officer position that I did in the end get, it just made it all worth it. But being involved in the FFA, that's what got me there.